All right. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Manzarra the Hobbyist. Today we'll be doing a book review, except it's going to be two books. If you saw my post, and I'm way late, and I've cut off my hair, got no hair left. Just a little short, tough. We're wearing the Austin hat. I got this hat in Austin, Texas. We'll be talking about two books today. They are both fantasy type books. One of them is the Summoner prequel, The Outcast by Taran Matharu, and the other one is Terciel and Elinor, a prequel to the Abhorsen series by Garth. Between these two books, they're both prequels, so that's something that they have in common. I really enjoyed the Abhorsen series when I first read that. I read that back when I was 14, 15, and the first three books were out, and there have been several releases of the books in the series since, so it's no longer just a trilogy. The Outcast, the original series, the Summoner series, is a trilogy, now including the prequel. There's 4 books. This one follows one of the people that the main character of the Summoner series can look up to. As far as Terciel and Elinor goes, it's the parents of the Abhorsen from the Abhorsen series, and it just sort of tells like how her parents came to be, together. Doesn't tell like the whole life story of them all the way up until the point, but I think there are several unique storytelling methods within it. Definitely, I very much enjoyed books by Garth within and outside of the Abhorsen series. Let me show you their cover. So this is The Outcast by Taran Matharu. Probably pronouncing it really bad, but it was a pretty good book. I enjoyed it. You definitely don't need to read the Summoner series to read The Outcast and enjoy it. And as the same with Terciel and Elinor. You can read it without knowing anything about the Abhorsen series, though knowing about the Abhorsen series does make it much more interesting to see where everything came from, how this story ties into the modern world of what's going on in the Abhorsen series. So let's talk about the Outcast, because I read that first. So Outcast, we're following, let me see his name. I forgot the main character's name. Arcturus. That's how I'm pronouncing it. So if that's wrong, I'm sorry. When you read a book, you kind of just pronounce names as it sounds best to you. So Arcturus in this book starts out as a stable hand and is gearing up to escape, steal a horse, and run away and build his life for himself. When what happens is he's in the stables and a pack opens up, and it's a summoning scroll. And there's something that just draws him into it, and then he reads it, and all of a sudden there's a demon in front of him, except it's his. It's tied to him. It's a part of him now. And he gets caught by the local government and brought forward, and they use the summoners as a military power, and so having someone who's non-nobility, usually only nobility can summon these demons and have magical control over them. So this commoner who came out of nowhere with no ties to any family, he's able to do it, and they're wondering, how is this possible? Are there other commoners who can do it, or what's the deal? Because if that's possible, then they can gear up against the war against the orcs and have a better chance. Have more firepower. But the secret behind it that you'll find out later in the book is that he is a child of one of the lords of the series, so he is tied to nobility, and it turns out that the first child between a noble and any other bloodline has a really high chance of being able to be a summoner. Usually it's only the firstborn child of that family is a summoner, or like a bloodline's really strong, so they'll be able to produce a few, but usually it's just the firstborn. On the back it does show you the covers for the other 3 books, so you can keep an eye out for those. They're actually really good. I really enjoyed the books. It was The Novice, The Inquisition, and The Battle Mage. All about the same character. who's actually, I think, a half brother to Arcturus. And Arcturus being a commoner, you know, in this story, he gets picked on by the nobility and the rest of the school, where they have to, it's sort of like a Harry Potter type deal where you got to go to school to learn how to control your magic. It's just the magic system is very, very different. The magic in this story is drawn from the demons. Like no one can conduct magic without a demon. Simple spells. No like Avada Kedavra. No, there's no wand, so there's no Expelliarmus. You know, doesn't talk much about lineage. A little bit, just very little about how, you know, the parental, you know, the firstborn of the line has magic typically. In this story, it's actually really interesting. It's got a little bit of politics involved, because it's the king has been taxing the people, and now they are uprising, and the prince is trying to take the king's place because, you know, the king abused the people. But during that, they're being attacked by the commoners, so they have to escape the commoners, which are everywhere, so they don't know their enemies. And that's basically Arcturus trying to choose with himself. Is he going to be on the commoner side? Is he going to be on the royalty side? Where does he stake his claim? Who is he? And it's a little bit of self-discovery about Arcturus. But I mean, we kind of already know the end of the story, because we see him as an adult working with the royalty in the Summoner series. But it's definitely interesting to see where he come from, the choices he made, and how the war plays out, because you don't really hear much about this war in the story that I remember. But it's been several years since I read those books. But definitely a really good book. If you like fantasy, and if you like Harry Potter, if you like magic, if you liked Aragon, Outcast, 100% go and read it. It's got more of like a cringy, dark tone to it, but it's also very light and hearty. Definitely like a preteen or teenagers. It's definitely inside the cast of YA novels. That's where I got these books from. Both of them, they're YA books. Doesn't mean that adults can't enjoy them. I'm 25, I still enjoy them. And it's me personally, I feel good when I'm able to knock work out really quick. So I don't always like to challenge myself with really hard reads. The text is not tiny in here, you know, it's a decent size. It's actually a pretty short book. I really enjoyed it. I suggest it highly. As for Terciel and Elinor, I can say all the great same things that I said about Outcast. The magic is more widespread in this world, though. So you're following the story of how Terciel was selected to become an Abhorsen, and how Elinor gets selected to become. Well, I mean, she is of the lineage of the Abhorsen and the Claire, who are people who can see into the future. So it's interesting that so both of these people are anointed in this world with a baptismal mark, which is a letter from the magical runes that they use to summon stuff, and it's on the forehead, and it's sort of their connection to the magic, because there's charter magic, which is controlled, and then there's free magic, which is described as like necromancy, evil, abhorrent, destructive, corruptive. So the corruptive magic or the control magic is kind of like the two classes that you fall into, and no one is born into the free magic. Free magic is kind of like you have to strike your way into it, while charter magic, you know, you're born into it. And there's been this event in the past that I don't know about the clarity of it, but there was an event in this series where charter magic was tied to and controlled and created for use and construction and restriction of magic entities, sort of to get the free magic beings under control and to protect oneself. Of course, Abhorsen is a type of necromancer. Oh, of course. If you've read the series, you understand that the Abhorsen is a type of necromancer. He uses the same tools as necromancers, except his tools are also inbound with the charter magic. So he's the line between free magic and charter magic. He uses both, where no one else in the series uses both because it will corrupt them. and he's a character that the Abhorsen can travel into and out of death with their spirit. Sort of like if you ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, how Aang is the bridge between the two worlds. The Abhorsen is the bridge between the two worlds of death and life. But it's not really a spirit world, it is a prison. Death is like a prison, it washes the soul away from the world. It's definitely interesting because when you first meet Terciel in this series, he's a child and he's living in a bad area and he's in the public houses and basically he's an orphan. Turns out that the Abhorsen took his older sister, their parents died in some tragic accident, and now it's his turn to fulfill his role as the Abhorsen. The necromantic bells of the Abhorsen revealed themselves to him, like they transported themselves to him as a child, and he's next. Elinor has an affinity for charter magic that is a little like really powerful, like she's really good at. She's sort of like a theater person, like she does stage juggling, acting, swordplay, but she's really good with magic. She gets glimpses of the future just like the rest of the Claire, and she's just a very interesting character. I'm a little bit more interested in Elinor than I was in Terciel in this series, even though Terciel, we do get a taste of him in the Abhorsen series as the father of Sabriel. And then Mogget was present, the one of the 7 shining stars of the Abhorsen series. She was like some mythical free magic being that has been restricted and serves the Abhorsen line with outside of its free will. So it is like magically bound to the Abhorsen line. So then that's the cat on the cover. So Terciel, Elinor, Mogget. I think they call Mogget something else in this series too. I just don't remember what. As far as the story itself, it's definitely edgier and darker than even the Outcast was. I mean, there was a little bit of death in the Outcast and things dying, stuff like that. But in Elinor and Terciel, this is a story where necromancy is the prime thing, where death is a line to be played with. So it does give the whole magical universe ties. Like, this is much more like Aragon than it is like Harry Potter. So towards that way. You could even say like Hobbit, because like magic is everywhere. There's magical beings. You don't see much of like elves or dwarves or anything like that. That's more of the Outcast. It's just people and magical beings. But you don't really see any magical beings except for cases of evil. Magic is everywhere in the old world and the new world. So it's like there's this wall in the world, and above the wall to the north, magic is everywhere. To the south, it's almost like a 1900s or 1800s world where like there's electricity, brick buildings, schools, all that. It's completely different. What else? So Elinor and Terciel and Elinor, that's definitely an amazing story. I really enjoyed it. It was a very quick read for me. I could not put the book down. I had to, because I get tired and I work and I have all these other things I'm doing, but I consumed this book. I consumed both books, but Terciel and Elinor definitely had a little bit closer connection for me, just my interests. Definitely was really interested in like the dark magic, free magic thing, the necromancers, the zombies, how the Abhorsen uses his power to conduct himself in the world, how Elinor escapes everything that's happening to her. Someone's trying to get to her throughout the whole series. Very, very interesting books. I recommend both of these. Again, it was The Outcast by Taran Matharu and Terciel and Elinor by Garth. I'll be including links to these books down below, just like the names of the books and authors, so that you can take a look at them. I really enjoyed these books. Read them if you like. If not, you know where to find me. I'll be back with more book reviews, more reptile stuff, painting, drawing. I got my July sketchbook materials, so we'll be doing some fun stuff with that. I'll show you guys that piece later on my Instagram page, Manzarra the Hobbyist. Check me out. We don't have a Facebook page yet. we're still working on a few things, developing the page, developing our social media accounts. So follow, like, share, whatever you feel like. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you guys around. Let me know how you feel about the book review. Let me know how you think it could have gone. This is my first video one. I've been doing like typing out book reviews forever on Facebook. So this is the first time I'm doing it on video. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know how this could be improved, or what you would like to see during the book review, or how I could have done it better. I appreciate it. All the feedback is definitely appreciated. Bye. This isn't working. This is supposed to be like a little remote to stop the camera.